When Uganda Boxing Federation President Moses Muhangi chooses to take on government for poorly funding his docket, he opts to do this by highlighting what he thinks is unfair distribution of peanuts coming out of government. It's a battle that has been picked up by the Table Tennis Federation President Robert Jagwe. While boxing and table tennis have been outspoken about funding from government, NTV Sports understands that other sporting disciplines are quietly uncomfortable with the state of affairs. The concern is that in the 2018-2019 financial year, government allocated the sports sector 17 billion shillings. FUFA was given 10 billion of the total to prepare for the Africa Cup of Nations and other expenses. Elsewhere, 1.5 billion was ring-fenced for the Netball Federation to prepare for the 2019 World Cup and 3 billion for the National Council of Sports operation costs. That left 2.5 billion shillings, which the 46 remaining federations had to share. It is no wonder that the Federation of Uganda Football Associations, or FUFA, has suffered the wrath of Muhangi and Jagwe.
You cannot say that out of 17.4 billion, they give FUFA 10 billion, they give these other successful sports 4 billion, and you're developing the sports in the country. Whoever is making that decision is a wrong decision. Whoever is conniving with FUFA in the government structures is making a wrong decision. If you're in the Ministry of Finance, you're in the Ministry of Education, you're in the Council of Sports, that's a wrong decision.
Maybe if you had passed a budget of sports and you say sports is now 40 billion, okay? Let FUFA take 10, let NCS remain with 5 to run its things, and then 25 runs the other federations. Then you would say, okay.
Both Muhangi and Jagwe choose FUFA of taking what they don't deserve.
For the last 50 years, FUFA has been able to qualify for AFCON only 3 times in 50 years. In 50 years, they have never won a single medal at African continent stage, at world stage. So the success they are talking about is not there.
This is FUFA's response to the accusations.
I think the comparison is not fair. The representation of a country at international level, boxing against football, are totally different. You represent a sport like boxing as an individual, get onto the ring, fight, make the quarterfinals, you're guaranteed of a medal or semi-finals, as opposed to football, where 11 players step onto the pitch, the 7 remain on the bench, the 11 are now fighting for the 3 points, which actually might be equivalent to a certain medal.
What about the government which allocates this money? Do they find sense in Muhangi and Jagwe's arguments?
A pronouncement was made by the president to provide funding under supplementary provision. Now, at the time, the Boxing Federation had only submitted for their annual work plan budget for that finance year 2017-18. It was 681. It is the same amount which was captured by finance, and it's the same amount we released to Boxing Federation under supplementary provision. It is on record. We released that money the way it was sent in 2 quarters. Now, when we submitted the second budget, because government did not increase the float for 2018-19, they maintained and consolidated the actual amount. So they virtually took care of the framework which was there in the previous.
Ogwell also says the federations that feel aggrieved have not done themselves any favors by presenting activity plans midway through the financial year. This in reaction to the Boxing Federation's recent decision to call off a Commonwealth Games training camp that was supposed to take place at Ruzira Prison's grounds due to financial constraints.
If they are creating programs, those programs are not approved by us. We only do with what's approved now. For boxing, they call for the national team in a camp, which is very good. They should have put a yardstick. How will this team be funded? So when the cuts came in, we wrote to them a letter, said, arising out of this, your budget there's been a budget shortfall, so this is what you are expecting. This is what you are getting. And we wire the money to their account. So it is at the point that they realize that, it is going to be difficult for them because they already have arrears.
However, government notes that boxing presents a good reason for increased funding in the next financial year.
Going forward, to think boxing as a case, as a genuine case, we would look into the issue of increasing their appropriation. That is the council decision. We have already seen the concern and also seen the good leadership, mobilizing as many youths as possible, which we have witnessed here, Many youths are now willing to participate in boxing, and we think he has a genuine case. So we may review and improve from the 500 onwards.
Oguel nevertheless adds that government cannot go the whole distance when it comes to funding activities of federations. On its part, FUFA says it can walk other federations through the best practices when it comes to soliciting funds from government.
And for us, we are glad to give a helping hand and also teach them exactly why we need the 10 billion shillings, even more money.
FUFA says the 10 billion received from government covers a small part of their 34 billion shillings budget. The deficit is covered by various sponsorships from the private sector. Other federations say FUFA is able to quote players in the private sector because it has initial capital from government. Tomorrow's 40 trillion shillings national budget is expected to earmark 26 billion for sport. While this is an increment from the 17 billion shillings from the previous financial year, it remains to be seen how the 48 sports disciplines will split the figure. Sam Poza, NTV Sport.